Good afternoon, ladies. I'm so excited to be here with you. My name is Lucia Soria, and today I'm representing the National Association of Women in Construction, Miami Chapter 41. First of all, I'd like to say thank you again to Community News for having us. This will be our final segment as we continue to celebrate women in construction during Women's History Month. So let's get started right away. Why don't we have a brief introduction, Nelmarie?
Sure. I'm Nelmarie Bowe. I'm with DPR Construction. I'm the project executive there. I've been in construction for about 16 years, and that's it.
That's good. Keeping you busy then for
Yes.
16 years.
Mhm.
Tamika, what about you?
Hi, my name is Tamika Smith, and I'm here with AHS Residential. We build, manage, and develop properties. I've been with the company about 2 years, and it's, so far, so going really great. I'm enjoying what I'm doing and strengthening the community.
Excellent. So, Nelmarie, you talked a little bit about being a project executive. Tell me a little bit about what that entails and then move us backwards 16 years ago on how you started your journey in construction.
Absolutely. So, as a project executive, my main focus in DPR is healthcare. I love just building healthcare and what it provides to the community. I also do higher education, so we work. Excuse me. We work a lot with FIU and FAU and the local universities and colleges. Um, so, taking a step back and how I got into construction to begin with, I grew up in Puerto Rico. My family had a plumbing business there, and as a child, I would spend time in the shop. Um, in one of your earlier segments, I've heard the ladies talk about how they played with Legos when they were kids, and I love that. And that was the same with me. When I moved here to Homestead, Florida, I got involved while in high school with a technology group, and just loved what that brought to the table, and went on to University of Florida to do an engineering degree. So I'm an industrial engineer. We do a lot with logistics planning and scheduling and things like that. One summer, this is a long story, but
It's okay.
one summer I went home to take a summer class at Miami-Dade, and the company that was doing Homestead Hospital offered me a summertime job just to answer the phones. And so that summer I spent, my time in the construction trailer, got to know the ins and outs of construction, and I interviewed for an internship the following semester. So that started my career in construction, and I haven't turned back.
It's amazing. You point to something that's very important, and that's something that the National Association of Women in Construction, we continuously try to do, which is introduce construction as a viable career path for both boys and girls at a very early age. And you got that experience from a family business. And as you mentioned, some of the other participants have said, well, it was my Legos, right? So, if you're out there and you're thinking about gifts for the little ones, let's start with Legos because it really gets them engaged and dreaming. But introducing construction as a viable career path early on will give children the opportunity to expand and engage in different areas. So Tamika, tell us a little bit about what it is that you do for AHS, and you've only been in the industry 2 years, so I want to know what let you into the industry.
Well, I started off as a leasing specialist. I was introduced to AHS by Alex, which is our asset management. Now he's over with the government officials working closely to build better housings. And I came in as a leasing specialist. He asked me to come in to try to create change for a lot of the workforce housing and also a lot of the students that have aged out of the foster care as well. So when I came in as a leasing specialist, I said I wanted to help more and how could I get involved? So I was there for about a year. Then I transitioned to the transaction coordinator working within the corporate office. And during that time, we had a lot of the delinquencies and the pandemic had hit during that time. So it was unfortunate for a lot of the residents that were living within their home were facing evictions. So we began to work closely with the Miami-Dade County Rental Assistance Program and helping a lot of our residents stay within the housing so that they didn't become evicted during that time, which was a great opportunity and a great experience for me. Moving back forward, what had led me to work within the construction overall, I started working at Fellowship House, which is a psychosocial rehabilitation center. I was volunteering there, also at Camilla's house during that time. And I was also attending Miami-Dade College, studying psychology, and also I wanted to work within, the field of just housing and gaining a better insight on how we can, provide better housing in general. So overall, I was there for about 13 years working there, and I was working with the different scattered sites with the housing programs and the developments. So overall, I was just so eager to just work within this field and to help build, manage, and, understand more about the housing sector as, we go along, and a lot of people face evictions, a lot of people face, devastation during difficult times, but it was very fortunate that we were able to work with the housing sector to be able to provide those housings for them. So it's been a wonderful experience, and I've just been moving up and developing, and we're growing as we are now have within our portfolio, we have Village of Mongolian. We also have Miami Gardens, which we've just opened that up. It's called Oak Enclave. We also have our villages of Coral Reef that we also work with. So it's been growing and developing within the company. Ernesto Lopez is our CEO of the company. So I'm just enjoying it. And it's been a wonderful experience thus far.
Well, I think there's so much potential in what you're speaking about because, prior to the pandemic and post-pandemic, workforce housing has been an issue in our community. We're blessed to live in a beautiful state. We're blessed to live in a beautiful city, and we have a lot of people wanting to live here and enjoy our beautiful sunshine state. And with that being said, workforce housing is a true need that we have. And, we're looking at our teachers, how our teachers affording homes, our firefighters, our police officers. So we have a lot of people that really could enjoy the product that your company is facilitating at this point. So I know that you talked a lot about your love for healthcare. What kind of projects has DPR been working on lately?
So currently we're working on a project for HCA Hospital. For HCA, it's Mercy Hospital in Coconut Grove. We're just awarded another project in Aventura. But we do a lot of work with Broward Health, HCA, Memorial. We're doing a cancer institute, which is a standalone building, beautiful building, and several others in the community.
Excellent. Well, let's take the workforce now on a different arena. Let's talk about subcontractors and local workforce and hiring locals. Are your companies committed in some way other than contractually to look for opportunities of outreach into a community and to bring in local workforce or to even train them so that we can afford them the opportunity of engaging in this industry? Nelmarie?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, DPR does a lot of self-perform work. So there's opportunities in all different aspects of construction, including working with your hands. So craft employees, we self-perform drywall, doors, ceilings, and Division 10, which is specialties. So that brings a lot of opportunities for those folks with those particular sets of skills. But also, we do a lot of recruiting with the local colleges for folks coming out of college and looking for a new career.
Excellent. And what about you, Tamika? What is AHS doing in terms of reaching out and potentially hiring locally?
Well, we have an outreach team, which I do work the outreach team. We do a lot of community services as well. We work with the different food banks, and we also get volunteers to come in to help out, to be able to see what their potentials are and their work skills. We also work with NANA, which is Leroy Jones is over that department. Alex goes down there to be able to see what, adults would like to have, work, or if they're in need of any services or how we could help them and serve them all around. So we are providing that, and we, have our own construction sites. So we provide a lot of opportunities, and we work also with the labor force. So.
Well, that's excellent. One of the things that NAWIC tries to do, obviously, is through professional growth and development. There's so many arenas, right? But one of the things that we see that there's a huge need for is trade education, because there's so many people retiring right now. We're in desperate need, right? So Is it a viable career opportunity? Absolutely. Learn a trade and then one day become a business owner. I mean, where can you really do that where you can make very good money as a tradesman or woman, and then own your own company if you want to get there? So one of the things that some of our local universities and colleges are doing is they're realizing this. So is some of our Miami-Dade County public schools, they're realizing the need to introduce trades early on so that students have an option to move forward. So, I'm glad that everyone's on the same page with, sticking to local workforce and local companies and really making our community stronger by employing our local folks. So with that being said, I've heard you guys say, well, on this project, on that project, I'm here, I'm there. Field or office or combination thereof, what's your preference, Nelmarie?
My personal preference is it's a combination where I stay pretty close to the field. I still love to build. That's my passion. So I do prefer the field, but understand there is a need for me to step back and go to the office and kind of develop, the folks entering the industry and help, make sure that the projects stay where they're successful. So guide the younger folks.
Well, that's really important because sometimes when we start in the office, we see things on plans and on paper. And typically everything on paper looks really great. It looks like it's going to work. It's beautiful. It's well designed. But sometimes when you're out in the field, things don't quite fit as nicely as we want them to. So being able to balance the field and the office and using that experience that you have to mentor others, it's a great way. What about you, Tamika? Field, office, or combo?
Well, I would say combo as well. I'm more of a hands-on person. I like to be out more in the field, networking as well. And in the office, of course, when duty calls, you have to pretty much, lay everything out with a blueprint to be able to go out and execute the plan and the purpose. So I would say a combo for both of them, but more so I like being on the field, especially with all the properties that we oversee within the community and also now building out of state. So it's, more on the field would be better for me. I like to be hands-on and also see it.
Someone said, I think it was last week, I like to be on the field when it's not raining, right? So we are coming into the rainy season, so that might make it or break it. We've been having a conversation, in terms of education, our experiences and so forth, but we all have weaknesses and strengths along the way. And there's certain traits that are really imperative for the success of someone within this industry. I'd like you to share what you think those traits are in this industry to make it successful.
Sure. So, technical skills are always a plus, but really to make it in the industry, it requires communication skills. You need to be able to collaborate with, the owner group, your team, and the trade partners. So communication skills, I say, would be the number one.
And I tend to agree with you. I've learned through the many years of being in business and before that being an educator that not everyone listens in the same way. And what you mean to say may not be heard in the same fashion. So you have to be clear and concise, and you have to understand who your audience is, because that can also sway the way you convey your message. So I completely agree with you that communication and collaboration are very imperative to anyone's success story into this industry. Tamika, what about you?
Well, have a trade is very important because you're experienced in what you're doing, but more so communication is the key to be able to understand and be able to relate to someone, especially when you're trying to execute a plan. So communication would also be the main thing for me, and also just perseverance and hard work and dedication plays a major part in all that we do. Sometimes it get difficult, especially within the construction, and it's also a challenge for us as women to be able to walk into construction now. So even you yourself as an owner of a construction company, Ram, so I'm sure it can be a little bit difficult for you as well and challenging for us all, but the communication plays a major part in all that we do.
Absolutely, and of course you touched on the gender question, and I'm going to go right there.
Yes.
We are celebrating women in construction. We are
Yes, we
celebrating it
are.
during Women's History Month, and obviously it's an industry where we are still the minority.
Yes.
Even though I've heard a lot of my colleagues, my male colleagues, say that they're so happy to see so many women entering into the industry because we bring a level of detail that perhaps is needed, right? As we're
Yes.
putting together a puzzle piece, not everyone sees it in the same direction. So when you are able to bring in the diversity of thought and strategy and vision, you get a much better complete picture at the end. So let's go there. Let's go to the gender question. Nelmarie, have
Okay.
you had any experiences, pro or con, because of being a woman in this industry?
Right. I would just start off by saying that the industry has changed so much since I first started. When I was on my first construction project, it was me and one other woman. And now I enter a room and there's 30 of us, which is great to see. But I do think that we bring, just a different dynamic, just a different, opinion and way of thinking, which is very collaborative. Um, and I forget where I was going.
It's okay.
But-
It's okay. You said you have 30, you come in and you come into a room full of women, and you did share that great picture with me of all the
Yes.
women that are on this project
Mhm.
with you. Do you see a difference in women in this industry, comparing it to other industries where we tend to build ourselves up in this industry because most of the women in this industry tend to be very confident, tend to be very, proactive. They are very opinionated. That could be seen sometimes negatively, where in this industry, to us, is a positive. Do you see that, or do you experience that with the ladies that you work with?
So I think that everybody is very supportive of each other, which is another nice thing to see when you're in a room with so many women. Just the idea of uplifting each other and wanting to see each other succeed. Um, Going back to your earlier question, does it bring a set of challenges being the minority in a construction field? Absolutely, it does. But that's part of the reason why I personally love it because it's not easy, and then there's always a challenge, whether it's logistics on a project or team dynamics, but also the fact that I do feel like I have to work a little bit harder just to show that I can hang with the best of them. But I love that part of the industry. So
Absolutely. I mean, and that challenge, that continuous challenge, because, it's very dynamic. What we do is very dynamic. It could change on a dime. Going back to traits, we have to be problem solvers. And, you can't just say, well, let me think about it and I'll get back to you tomorrow. No, sometimes you have to make a decision on the spot because, it's a time sensitive issue and so forth. So, I'm glad to see that the ladies that you're working with are building bridges rather than tearing them down. And I think I see that a lot within our industry. Tamika, what about you? Has gender played an issue?
Absolutely, it has, and bringing that diversity in is, imperative now, especially with the times that we live in. So it could be challenging sometime, but I think that we overcome those obstacles with, again, going back to the communication and, just being a team player. But it has been a little bit difficult and in the beginning for me, because I really didn't understand a lot about the construction aspect and the building and the developing. So as time progressed, I began to also work with a group of women, and I met you, and you introduced me to the construction. It was even more, you know, um, how would I say, rewarding to be able to see a woman of such of yourself to have that platform and have
you.
your, construction business working with men. So it was like, wow, if she can do it, I can do it. Many women are doing it and never really seen. I've seen them on the construction field, but really didn't know if they were a man or woman because they have their hard hats on.
Mhm.
But I see, you're all dressed up professional, and I'm like, wow, she's in construction. She has her own business. So, it's women that are doing it now. And I work with a group of women, and Yesenia Rule, she's, our operationals manager, and now our regionals manager. So she's really setting the bar high, as well as Selma, that's there as well. So it just makes you look up to more women to say, wow, we're leaders, we're taking over. And us as women, we also have more patience. Men are like, with this field, they're rushing to get projects done, and we're just, taking our time, want to finesse it, want to make sure everything is perfect and right. So you lead by example, and that's, an amazing thing. So I'm excited, but overall it can be challenging, but
Mhm.
through perseverance, we're getting there as women, and we're showing that we are leading the way.
Well, you only grow through adversity.
Yes.
And this is a field where, yes, it's challenging, it's complicated, the dynamics are definitely there, but you can't fall further down than the floor. So when you fall, you
Yes.
get up and you try again, right? And this Women in Construction Week celebration, our national president wanted us to bring the theme of envision equity. And even though that's a very trendy word right now, let's go back over 65 years ago to a group of women in Texas who were in the industry but didn't have a voice, right? So they got together, they formed NAWIC. Soon enough, it just spread, right? And Miami
Wow.
just celebrated their 60th anniversaries, which is a huge accomplishment,
Wow.
to have done that. So these women maybe they did not have the verbiage of diversity, equity, but they knew what they wanted, and
Yes.
they got together and they formed it. So we're getting a little bit closer to the end of our segment, and I wanted to ask you, if you had a young man or a woman that was thinking about entering the industry, what piece of advice would you give them?
I would say that, talk to somebody in the industry, because it is very likely that your unique set of skills will fit the construction industry. It's just a matter of finding out where, if it's in the field, if it's in, administration, if it's back in the office, or, we even we have marketing personnel, we have accounting and financing. So there's a fit for everyone. You just have to know where to go. And by reaching out to somebody who's already in the industry, they can help guide you.
Absolutely. And with the involvement that we have in career fairs and so forth all across, I want to put it out there that students, if you're great at math, if you're great in language arts and so forth, and you just have an inkling, or you're thinking, well, maybe, well, you know what, go get your feet wet. Go ask for
Right.
that internship. Go get that experience. Go in for, an observation, and most companies will allow you to do that, because we are lacking in workforce, and we are lacking in retaining talent, right? Because
Yes.
we have such a competitive market, which is a fabulous thing, because really nothing has slowed our construction down. Not even the pandemic. We had to think outside the box. We had to
Yes.
deal with it. We had to work around it, but nonetheless, we have not stopped. So, I challenge everyone that's out there, young or old, who's thinking about a career change or possibly a new career. Go get your feet wet. Ask someone in construction what they
Yes.
like, what they dislike, and what
Mhm.
you can do with your skill set. So, we talked a little bit about community back and forth, and I'm a big advocate for community service. I sit on a lot of boards. It's dear to my heart. You talked about mentoring. We need to pay it forward, because I think that we are very blessed. We have our health, we have our jobs, we have our families.
Yes.
Someone helped us along the way. Along the way,
Yes.
somebody stretched out that arm, somebody pulled us up, or someone gave us guidance or advice. What are you doing to pay it forward in your community? Nelmarie?
So I like to do a lot in different realms. So I do like to mentor. So I do some work with either student ACEs or ACE mentorship. Some of those programs you help on an actual construction project. So it's like their senior project where you help them, with design and budgeting and construction schedule, things like that are very close to construction. But other times when I'm on a healthcare project and, you see the patients day in and day out, you want to give back. So, I do get involved with the hospital and the child care there and give back, whether it's, through gifts, because a lot of those kids spend a lot of time in their patient rooms. So the idea of them just giving them a little gift set where they, keep busy while their time there. But I also do things with Habitat for Humanity. Rebuild Broward is another great one. Um, Anything that gives joy, brings joy. I like to spread joy, however I can.
Well, that's a beautiful thing. Miami chapter of NAWIC, we're also very big on community and partnering, because it's my personal belief that through partnering, and growing in numbers, we just have more strength. We do a toy drive, every year, and our toy drive goes to South Dade. We have a very diverse population in South Dade from migrant workers. We have Patches, which is an excellent program. So we try to disperse that joy among those that we know really need it in South Dade. And of course, that's just one of the many things that we do. So I concur that spreading that joy, mentoring someone else is a fabulous way of paying it forward. Tamika, what about you?
Well, I like to give back to the community, and during my time, I also dedicated to AHS as well. And now being a part of the South Dade Chamber of Commerce, it has brought much honor to be able to help and visualize and see more. So we're currently also working on the April Easter event. We're preparing for an Easter event at two of our locations, which is the Coral Reef location located on 152nd in our Miami Gardens Oak Enclave. We're going to be giving back to our communities. We're going to have an Easter egg hunt, an Easter event with the face painting for the students, and also the children are going to come out and volunteer. We're also going to be having a few of the militaries come out as well to support, and we're going to be partnering, and partnering is a big thing for me, so I love to partner. We're going to be partnering with the MAC committee as well. They're going to come out, and our chair of the board, which is Fernando, he's currently away at this time, but we're partnering to be able to help spread that love. And I feel at the end of the day, love is so important, and at this time we should be giving it back. So I like to spread that love and give back and just be a doer. So I'm excited about all the things that's looking ahead to come. We also are preparing for our Mental Health Awareness Month, which will be in May. We're also going to partner with the chambers to be able to have an on-site different vendors come out to be able to showcase their networking, and we're preparing for that now. So it's going to be exciting. We would love to also have you come out and set up your booth and be able to display some of your materials and give us a little bit more knowledge of what your services offer to our community. So it's all about the community, and it's all about giving back that love. So we're super excited about that.
Oh,
So that's my time.
That sounds
Yes,
really exciting.
yes.
We have I was at a meet and greet this morning, meeting our new superintendent, which was wonderful. That South Dade, our school board member Luisa Santos, is very connected to her community. She has one of the biggest districts, and to see him come down and really support the diverse needs of our community lends itself to our continued partnership on behalf of NAWIC with our school board to help them, because we always hear live, work, and play. And just not too long ago, I heard live, work, play, learn, and pray. And I really think that completes a beautiful picture of what
Wow.
a good community should have, right? It should have all those components.
Yes.
Coming up for us in NAWIC, we have, this will be our fourth year hosting an event. It's called Ladies of Legacy, and Tamika was one of our presenters last year. It's very well attended. We have a wonderful panel discussion about women in various industries, of course, construction being included, that are at the top of their game and what they're doing. And again, that story that can empower, that can engage someone to become a better them. So that event's coming up June 9th, and it'll be held at Mercedes-Benz of Cutler Bay. I'm extending the invitation now because I know our
Yes.
calendars get quite full. So I'm very excited about that. And I'm also very excited to share that we will be in the near future putting out to all our high school students, as well as our college and university students, a scholarship program from the Miami chapter where we will encourage financially someone either in architecture, engineering, or construction, be it a young woman or a young man. We're putting it out there so that they have an opportunity to, we can help them out a little bit with some finances as they continue to pursue this industry. So again, today I want to thank you so much for your participation. I thank you for everything that you're doing in the industry, what you're doing to mentor others, what you're doing to pay it forward, and as an example of what you can be in this industry. So thank you again. And on behalf of the National Association of Women in Construction, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. This is our last segment, and I hope that next year Community News will partner with us again and allow us to celebrate women in construction during Women's History Month. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you for having us.